what you no, I'm sorry. Give me good advice. I'm sorry. Let's start with this. Give me some good advice of what you should do at RSA this year.
Wear comfortable shoes.
Basic good advice. Yes. All right, Adrian, give me some bad advice. What you should not do at RSA this year.
Get publicly drunk. Get inebriated.
People already do that. All right, Alan, give me some worse advice of what you shouldn't do.
All right. You know how in the military they have a front pack and a backpack?
Mm-hmm.
Don't just go with the backpack RSA issued you. Bring one of your own that's empty so you can go home with even more and more and more swag that you'll ultimately dump in your office and do nothing with.
Or the trash.
I hate to break it. I think Adrian's advice is worse.
People will do it, though.
All right, let's start this.
Get ready. It's Super Cyber Friday.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Super Cyber Friday. Today, we got a super fun topic. And if you've noticed, we're on the version 2 of Crowdcast, which still has problems. Hate to break it to you. And we're all wearing hats, thanks to Alan, who has a very hurt foot, but he was able to pull his hat down with a crutch as well. Today's topic, hacking RSA, an hour of critical thinking, how to get the most out of RSA, or heck, any security conference for that matter. Our guests today are Adrian Sanabria, who is the host of Enterprise Security Weekly, and Alan Afford, who's the host of the Cyber Rant podcast. 3 podcasters, 1 show. We have never done that before like this. Although we've had podcasters from the CISO series, but not different shows. Like, what am I saying? I take that back. We had the podcaster Dave Bittner and I'm sorry, the woman from Smashing Security, whose name eludes me right now. All right. We have no sponsor for today's episode. We are it. CISO series is the sponsor, but 7 different ways to participate. Here is the bad ideas and the good ideas. Bad ideas. What not to do at RSA. I'm sure you're going to come up with some really good bad ideas. We just heard 2. I bet you can top that. And we do want tips on what you should do at RSA. And again, when I say RSA, translate RSA to any security conference you would like. You can vote on polls. And we would love it if you would come on camera. Any of you, I know Fernando mentioned something, an analyst perspective on this. So please just say, bring me on in the chat. And we'll bring as many of you on as possible. Some of you are typing, Adrian or Alan, we can hear that. So just do me a favor and mute yourself when you're typing, if you can do just that. I believe in the lower right corner, you can do that. All right. Just remember to unmute yourself. All right. We have a great schedule, all the classics, but we're going to do something different. We have the bad advice, the good advice, we'll play the public interest. And we'll play the Department of Yes as well, which is going to be really fun to see. But we're going to play an RSA-themed game of Quiplash in the last 15 minutes of today's show, so that should be fun as well. Let me see what else we got going on here. The call to action button is not showing. Join us next Friday. I want to show that. Here, let's show that right there. There it is. Let's keep that up for the whole show as much as possible. Our next show is Hacking Kubernetes. Look, there's the button right at the bottom of the screen. You can click that at any time, and it will not take you out of this. And you can register for next week, Hacking Kubernetes, an hour of critical thinking on dealing with new and emerging complex and transient container environments. Remember to register early, so by next Tuesday, to win a CISO Series jacket. And congrats to this week's winner, Corey Radar, who's with the Hillsborough County Aviation Authority. I've already jumped into what I say at the end of the show, so let's not do that. All right, let me turn this off. I want to hide this, and let's get right going with our questions here. And for either of you, let's just start with a really open question. What should one's goal be at RSA?
Yeah, RSA is a big conference, so I think there's a lot that you can get out of it. There's not a lot of conferences where you can do as much as you can at RSA, except for maybe Hacker Summer Camp, where you have Black Hat and DEF CON and stuff like that. But so what do you want to get out of it? Do you want to meet more people? Do you want to expand your network? Are there specific vendors you want to talk to, meet face to face?
Give me an example, Adrian, of like, what is a successful RSA for you personally? You don't have to speak to everyone, but just for yourself personally.
Yeah, for me, it's a mix of catching up with friends. I really interested in emerging market stuff like that. So I need to get a couple hours on the expo floor. I want to go discover new things, and I want to go to at least a few talks. So I think regardless of what your goal is for RSA, you need to do some planning beforehand. The list of expos and the map of the expo floor is available on the RSA website. If you have a sign-on for the RSA website, you can actually sign up for different talks, because they will stop you from going in after a certain point if you're not on a list, or if you line up too late for the talk. So I think pre-planning your RSA goes a long, long way.
Already bad ideas are coming in. Dutch, very good. And Dwayne, by the way, I hate to break it to you, I think some people have actually done that, said yes to every invite. Alan, what is a successful RSA for you?
Yeah, so for me, honestly, RSA is more about connecting with the community that I already am connected with, just getting to see everybody physically that I've maybe got online relationships with, or I only see them once a year at RSA. So for me, it's largely about connecting with folks. The second goal for me, to Adrian's point, is to learn about new and up and coming technologies. And so I always hit the floor. I always plan on spending some time on the floor. And I love to go to the edge of the floor and hit the, the little tiny booths for the brand new baby
Everyone
startups.
says that.
I love to go there and talk to those folks. Although one year there was a sign for quantum computing, and directly across the aisle from it was the sign for post-quantum computing, both on that little baby startup aisle. And I thought that was pretty hysterical. But mostly connecting with folks. I try to go see the talks that are either interesting to me. To Adrian's point, I look ahead of time to see which ones I think I'm interested in the topic. Just as often, I'm going to say that I'm going to see my friends' talks. Then I catch up with friends. Then there's a million and one activities outside of and around RSA that I participate in as well. And balancing the actual conference with the extra conference activities ends up being one of the goals every year for me.
Yeah, I mean, the RSA has a gravity that it's not just the conference. I mean, you could experience a lot at that event and never, ever walk into the show floor. I believe it was like the last one. I mean, while I walked on the trade show floor, I actually didn't go to a single session during the entire event, because I was just at the trade show floor, and then I just was at all the surrounding events as well. Please, everybody, throw in your thoughts about what you get out of the show as well. All right. You mentioned preparing, Adrian, going through the list of stuff, making a schedule, things like that. But there is a certain balance you want to have for being heavily prepared, and then also allowing for a certain amount of serendipity of like who you run into, because that's been for me the greatest advantage too, is just literally running into people at the show. Now, I also want to qualify. I've been going to the show for many years. I met you at the show as well. My experience, your experience is going to be very different from someone going for the very first time. So speak to both angles, if you will. Adrian?
Yeah, so you make a good point. Leave some spare time in there. Don't schedule every hour of your RSA. You'll just run into somebody going across the street, walking from south to north, or Moscone. And yeah, leave some time for that spontaneous, those meetings to happen. A lot of times after a talk, you're really interested in a talk, you get to talking to the speaker. They flush you out into the hallway after every talk at RSA. Everybody gets kicked out, because they want to badge everybody in as they go in there. But make sure. So 2 spaces you need to leave for spontaneous meetups, to just go grab a bite with somebody, to have a conversation with someone, and also to wind down at the end of the day. Already I see bad ideas in the chat here. Go to every party. Yeah, and of course that's a bad idea. You're shaking hands with so many people. You're doing so much walking every day, playing on 15 to 20,000 steps a day. I don't know, maybe practice before you go to RSA so you can handle 15 or 20,000 steps a day.
By the way, you mentioned something that I made the mistake of doing last year, and I am not going to do it this year, and that is actually schedule a sit-down meal for yourself and meet up with some other. I went the entire week where, except for like a couple of parties where I did get invited to a sit-down meal, invited to plenty of parties, I was grazing, I think 90% of my meals, and I felt like absolute crap. as a result. So
San Francisco has great food. You know,
Yes.
don't just eat the food that they put outside the talks and that they put near the you know, the media room. Like it's decent food that they have there. But yeah, plan to go out, have a quiet dinner either by yourself or with a couple of friends.
Well, not by yourself. It leads me with, and you could just randomly anybody.
I'm an extroverted introvert, so I need that
No, but
recharge time.
don't be shy to just say to anyone, "Let's go grab a bite."
Right.
Yeah.
Seriously, to anyone, you'll be amazed.
So two more things I want to mention real quick. One is I try and eat nothing but salads every meal, like in general when I travel, because somebody at some point is going to say, let's go to the sausage place where all they serve is like 23 different kinds of sausage. And I feel prepared for that if I haven't eaten garbage the whole time that I've been out there.
That is a very good tip.
And then the other thing is logistics. RSA is huge. You know, if you think you're going to get from a meeting at a booth in South Expo to a talk in West Moscone in 5 minutes on the third floor of West Moscone, not going to happen.
You can't do back-to-back meetings. You have to
That's
put
a
like
20-minute
20 minutes
walk.
in between.
You're stealing my number one tip, which ties into what both of
sorry.
you guys said, which
Go
is
ahead, Alan.
I book 30-minute intervals in between everything I plan to do. Even if it turns out to only be the 5-minute walk, even if it is just going from a booth here to a booth there in the same floor, I still book a 30-minute interval. And that sort of addresses both topics, right? This covers what David was talking about with wanting the buffers to be free to run into people. And it also covers what Adrian's talking about, to not overcommit yourself. And I think if you do a 30-minute block of activity with a 30-minute block of nothing, 30-minute block of activity, 30 block of nothing, you can go from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. with those half-hour breaks all the way through, and you can actually make it, right? Because I end up with breakfast meetings as early as 7 because you're trying to catch people before the official 8 o'clock, whatever starts for whomever. And, you know, the parties all go till 10, 11 p.m. I'm gone by 10. I'm done by 10. But 7 a.m.
Shout
to
out
10
to
p.m.
Mel's Diner.
Days in a row.
Mel's Diner for breakfast.
There you go. And just block those 30 minutes all throughout the day to give yourself that time.
Here's the other advice that I would give compared to that is I will set up a bunch of meetings and I just pick one location and I have people come to me.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea being, you just pick a spot. I go, this is where I'm going to be. I also send a photo of myself. I've scouted the location before, like on a Sunday, shot a photo or a quick video and sent it to all my people who I'm going to be meeting with. Like, this is what the spot looks like. Come meet me here. And that is a huge advantage because it can get really, really confusing there. Extremely.
Well, and how are you going to communicate with them, David? Is it going to be Signal? Is it going to be Slack? Is it going to be email? Is it going to be LinkedIn DMs?
Point. Yeah,
You don't want to be jumping between all of those. So try and just like pick one and like just Signal, like everybody, or just LinkedIn or something like that. Because 5 minutes, you're supposed to meet somebody. They haven't shown up. How do you contact them?
Yep. And I don't want to give away my best tip because if everyone uses my best tip, then the best tip no longer works for any of us, but wear the cowboy hat. For real, the whole reason the cowboy hat started, I mean, obviously I own them and I have multiple cowboy hats just like I have multiple cowboy boots, but the whole reason it became a public thing that people associate me with is every time I go to a conference, I will literally photograph the given hat I'm going to wear and say, look for the guy under this hat. And I'll post that on LinkedIn. And I can't tell you how many people every year I run into who just spot me in the crowd because of the hat and come up to say hi. And during that 30-minute interval I talk about, I ended up having fantastic conversations with all kinds of people.
And Alan's
all because
tall,
of the hat.
so this works really well because Alan is also a tall person.
That's another 6 inches. There you go.
Yeah.
I would look like a buffoon walking around with this, though. That's the thing. That's why I had to take this off because I can't pull it off. I definitely couldn't pull it off for a whole show. The other thing is like, well, you live in Texas where seeing people walking around with a cowboy hat is very normal. Seeing anyone walk around with a cowboy hat at San Francisco is an anomaly. Oh, hey, I just realized we should be getting our first game up and running. So let's do that. Let's get our first game up and running.
Do you know what others are thinking? On the public interest.
All right, we got lots of chatter going on. This is great. I love hearing these tips. By the way, I hope you're all throwing in your tips, which I've seen already as well. All right, everyone knows how this game is played. Adrian, Allen, I'm going to just tell you, this is a very, very tough game. There's only 4 questions. Getting all 4 right is very, very hard. I will say that. But we did, I think last week was our first time, or 2 weeks ago, I'm sorry, was the first time we had someone get all 4 right. All right, here we go. First question is, most average monthly search queries, which gets more, RSA or Black Hat? Now, keep in mind, I'm going to just give you one hint here. This is search queries of everything. Of everything. It's not just, notice we're just talking about cybersecurity, but just keep that in mind. So what gets more average monthly search queries? And RSA or Black Hat?
And
Black
we just
Hat.
shout it out? We just...
Well, no, you have to, I'm sorry, Alan, did you say Black Hat?
I said Black Hat.
What are you saying, Adrian? A or B? RSA or Black Hat?
So in general, not Black Hat
it's
conference.
just
Like people are just searching.
They're
Yeah,
not
I'm going to go Black
specifically
Hat.
saying RSA conference or Black Hat conference, just RSA or Black Hat, just the words you see there.
Black Hat.
Black Hat, and the correct answer is Black Hat. You are correct, almost 2-1 right there. All right, we get a little bit of mixture, but I would say majority of people answered B, Black Hat. Good answer. Okay, here we go. Second question: what gets more monthly search queries? The word networking, meetup, or community? What do you think?
Monthly search query.
Networking. It covers the
Networking.
human and the technical both. It gets Googled for both reasons.
All right, what do you think, Adrian?
I can't argue with Alan's logic there, so I'm going to have to choose the same as him again.
All right, and the correct answer is
No!
by a whopping margin. Meetup. That one I was shocked by.
Alan, you
Look at
led me
that.
wrong. You led me astray.
You followed me. That was your first mistake.
I trusted you.
All right, we got a few D's that got meetup. Good job for the people who answered D.
Yeah, because it's a company, right? Like that's how you actually schedule
Yeah.
your meetups. Is you use
Oh,
Meetup.
yeah,
So yeah, I can't smack my head because I'm wearing a hat, but I
Okay,
would.
planning, scheduling, or serendipity. What gets more search queries?
Planning.
I'm gonna go with scheduling.
All right, planning, scheduling, or serendipity. They picked F and G. Let's see what the correct answer is. It is actually serendipity by a whopping margin. That one I cannot explain. I do not know why that, and it doesn't look like anybody picked H. No, everyone picked. So everyone's a loser so far on this one. All right, last one. Here we go. Follow-up or ghosting, and we're going to talk about this too.
Ghosting. I'm going with ghosting.
I'm going with follow-up. Even though ghosting is a popular social phenomenon and not just a vendor relationship phenomenon, follow-up is used more ubiquitously, I'm going to argue.
All right, here we go. Adrian picks ghosting. Alan goes with follow-up. Follow-up wins.
Oh, that was
Slight
close.
margin. Good job there. All right, so we are. Let me get it. Whoops. What did I just do there? All right, let's hide that, and let's go back to our discussion here at hand. Good job, both of you. Nobody got 4 out of 4. I don't think anyone did, because that serendipity one was the toughest one.
Yeah.
I don't know why that's so.
Maybe
damn
people
popular.
are just big fans of the 2001 American romantic comedy film with John Cusack and Kate Beckinsale.
I'm sure that's exactly. Today, they're still getting searches for that as well. All right.
I got nothing.
This is my number one bugaboo about RSA, and that is the follow-up. Because, and this is the comment I say, it's like, if I swear 5% of what people promised they would do at RSA actually happened, then I'd be rolling in it. Because people talk a good game at all conferences. It's when you do that follow-up, it's like that ghosting mentality happens. It all falls apart. I've tried some techniques that have worked here and there, but I'm interested to know what has worked for you and what has not worked for you in the follow-up. Either Alan, you go first on this one.
I use the Notes app on my phone, and I will literally met with David, promised him recording of that cow mooing, and put that in my notes. And when I get back from RSA, I will take my notes from my phone, get them into my calendar, and actually make items to do the things to follow up. That's my tactic.
No, but okay, but that's you following up. The question is, do they respond? My ability to follow up is not hard. Like, I do the same thing. But how do you get them to respond? Because that's my concern. Like, why desperately did I need that video of the cow?
Right. Yeah, it's going to vary on the relationship, right? If it's a vendor and they don't follow up, they're lost, not mine. I move on.
Right.
If it's a peer, I'll bug them. If
You'll
it's
keep bugging them?
yeah, I'll bug somebody and say, hey, remember that conversation at RSA? You did it. I know we're all busy, but and I'll throw a nice one of those over the fence. And if that doesn't work, then I walk away.
Okay. So you give it a couple of pushes and then you just move on. Adrian?
So I mentioned earlier, make some space at the end of the day, to decompress, so you can survive the next day and the day after that.
Right.
And that's when I do my follow up. So I'll schedule a meeting for us to chat with each other. I mean, everybody having Calendly now is pretty handy. Like you can just go to Calendly, somebody's name, and you can schedule a meeting with them.
Not just that,
I'll do the action
we
item.
all have our calendars in our hand. You can try. One trick is to try to get, like, when they say, "Oh, we should meet up afterwards," and I go, "Let's schedule it right now."
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Do it at the conference. Don't wait till you get back.
Now, I will say this: I've had plenty of people cancel on me on those things that are. They're like, "All right, I'll schedule and I'll just cancel with this jerk," kind of thing. Yeah. But it does happen.
And tell people, don't be polite. Like if you don't like, when I used to work the booth for Thinkst, like people would they grab the bounce balls, because that was our swag thing, and they'd be like, "Don't you want to scan me?" And we're like, "Do you really want to hear about our product?" They're like, "No." No, just take the swag and go. Like, be honest here, because we're just wasting each other's time if we pretend that we want a meeting together.
Okay, I can't stress that importance of that. The be honest, and I'll tell a story. And I've mentioned this before. So many of you have seen me on trade shows, and I do the man on the street style videos. And I'll be holding a mic flag that has, the at the time when I wasn't doing CISO series of the company that I'm representing when I'm, doing the man on the street videos, which you will not see me do at RSA. They actually have a no man on the street video policy, which they should call the David Spark policy, because I was the only one doing man on the street videos. So I nixed it. But I've had people say to me, I'll ask them, "Hey, can I interview you about such and such?" And I get this line of, "Oh, I'll come around later." That never happens. And I mean, literally never. And I've interviewed, I'm not being facetious when I say this, thousands of people. Because each time I do one of these videos, I shoot 40 to 60 people, and I've shot 200 of them. And so I always stop them. I go, "You know what? It's okay to say no to me. Totally cool. Just say no. It's all right."
I used that line with Girl Scouts the other day. They were right there when I walked into the grocery store, and they said, "You want to buy some cookies?" I said, "Maybe on the way out." And I looked for a way out where I didn't have to pass them.
David Spark, and you heard it here. David Spark has shot hundreds of people. You heard it here first. There you go.
Context is important.
All right. What time are we at? Oh, we're past 20. Is it time? Do we close the poll here? I keep forgetting what our schedule is, for that matter. There's chatter in our back channel. That's probably what I've been not paying attention to. So it's 40 minutes. Oh, it's 30 minutes past the hour. We'll play What's Worse. So I guess, put the poll up. Do we have the poll up? We need the poll of the bad ideas. Yes. Get the poll up of the bad ideas, because we'll do at 30 minutes past the hour. We will play the Department of Yes game. All right. Do we have questions from our audience? I haven't even looked to see if we have questions from the audience. Are there any in here? There are none. What's wrong with you people? Get some questions in. By the way, Fernando Montenegro, did you want to come on and give your thought from the analyst's perspective? Because we are neither. Actually, Adrian was an analyst at one time.
I was.
How did you treat the conference difference?
So it's actually a little backstory there. So when I left 451, my boss, Scott, said, "Okay, that's fine, but you got to find yourself a replacement." And Fernando Montenegro was my first choice, because he was already writing great analyst content, but not doing the job. And I talked him into taking my position. So we've got a connection there. Sorry, what was the question? The question is, how do you treat the conference differently as an analyst? Because, I got to assume, as an analyst, you're setting up a lot of briefings. Yeah. Yeah, so RSA sets up a dedicated media area. So you've got journalists there. David will be there. Analysts will be there. But then they have briefing rooms as well. So at RSA, typically it's like an open room. Sometimes they're like closed cubicles, depending on what conference you go to. But you can basically sign up in half-hour slots to use these different rooms, these different briefing areas. And some analysts, like talking to Rick Holland used to do 40, 50 briefings across a single conference.
How much time do you allow for a briefing at RSA? How much time do you allow?
30 minutes each one, because that's how they do the slots. But the problem is, some of them can't come in because they haven't bought tickets. So they're doing all their analyst relation stuff at their hotel in a suite. So you're going from the briefing room at Moscone to the W, to the fifth floor of the Marriott. You're running all over the place for these briefings. But same as what you said, David. As an analyst, you try and have as many as possible in one place so that you don't have to move.
So you don't have to physically move. That is the trick. If you pick one place. All right, I think Fernando's coming on, but I think he's coming through speakers because I'm starting to hear some echo. Fernando, if you can get some headphones on, that'd be awesome. Get some headphones on, Fernando. Quick.
I'll go on mute. Bring me back in a few minutes.
You talk, I'm going to go on mute.
Okay, thanks. So, like Adrian said, everything.
Spotlight Fernando again. Spotlight here. I'm going to put you on spotlight here. There we go.
Perfect.
Okay, go ahead,
So
Fernando.
Pretty much what you guys have been spot on all the time, right? And I mentioned in the chat that I owe some career decisions to RSA. It was exactly meeting Adrian. I remember sitting at having a chat at the lobby of the Marriott Marquis back in 2016. At first, and then I became an analyst in 2017 directly because of him. So I owe it to and both of you as well. Like we've had great interactions, Alan, at B-Sides just before. That's where I met you for the first time. And David, we've had meals. I love it all. So that super excited to be here and share this with you. I think that one of the things that I call out the most for the RSA conference is that every one of us is at a different stage of our careers, right? And sometimes people talk down the RSA conference, oh, the content is too basic. Yeah, sure, if you have 15 years of experience, it's not for you, right? What you're supposed to be doing there is exactly what the three of you were talking about. Is you make connections, you help others move up, you make introductions to people. So somebody who is junior on your team, you bring them along and you introduce them to people so that they can build up their networks over time. And yeah, it changes. It is by far my favorite time of the year. One disclaimer I'll make is that I work for a company that is a competitor to the RSA conference. I work for Informa that does Black Hat. But so if I say anything, I think very, very positively of RSA. But full disclaimer, it is my competitor in a sense.
Yeah, but honestly, we're saying RSA now because it's the conference coming up. But I would also throw out that. What we say can speak to any conference, any security conference. Yes. Let me give kudos to Mr. Adrian Sanabria as well, because you just said that. So put yourself on mute for a second, Fernando, because we're echoing through you. So Adrian here, he is the one who introduced me to who Mike Johnson was, and it's because I met, and he validated my thinking about the topic when I launched the CISO series, which was the concept of it was 5 years ago, which was actually January of 2018. And he was the one who validated my thinking on it when he introduced me to what the heck Mike Johnson was saying. And then I introduced myself to Mike Johnson back then. So you can thank Mr. Adrian Sanabria for that as well.
Yeah, and that's the value of going to these things. Like a lot of people, like they'll show up, they'll go to a few talks, they'll wander the expo floor a bit. And, this is garbage. Security is just what has become of security, but it's or maybe you only hang out with your group, with your colleagues. But yeah, meeting different people, just me. And part of that is me just saying yes to everything, which comes with its own challenges. When you do that, Alan knows what I'm talking about. But it leads to a lot of really good things too, because, David reaching out and asking, hey, can I do like a man on the street style video with you? Led to me suggesting this to him. And then he starts a podcast and it's really successful. Like it's, you saying yes to things goes down some good paths sometimes.
I have,
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say the same story here. I've gotten advisory roles from random bump-ins at RSA. I've gotten, vendor purchases made, not because I was at the floor getting talked to by a specific vendor, but because I ran into a friend who happened to be with a vendor he was already working with, and da 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 da. And every relationship I've had in cyber has it some way tied back to some degree anyway. Some portion of them is tied back to those random bump-ins at RSA.
Mm-hmm. Let me also say that I want to speak from the angle of the person who they're very green to the industry. They don't know anybody. It's way easier when you know people. Like for me and the two of you, I mean, we know so many people. It's really, really easy. But let's talk to the person who knows absolutely no one. How do you start a random conversation at RSA? How would you do it?
Right after a talk is great. You pick a bunch of talks that sound interesting, and you'll see people cluster up around the speaker to have a conversation with the speaker after it. Oftentimes, the other people asking questions are good people to meet and get to know. And I've met a lot of good people, a lot of interesting and helpful people doing that. So the speaker goes off to do their next thing, and you're left with this kind of cluster, this group of people who are all interested in the same talk and interested to the point to where they wanted to talk to the speaker afterwards. So it's kind of like a natural birds of a feather, comes together.
My suggestion is gonna get me overwhelmed, but find me at RSA and hang out for real. Find somebody who does know people, hang out with that somebody, and you'll meet people through the people that know people. And I'm always willing to hang out and chat. Whoever wants to come up and hang out, I'll be running around visiting my friends. Come along with you, can meet my friends, kind of thing.
Yeah. So, by the way, so just so everyone knows, so we don't have the poll up for the following reasons. This is the version 2 of Crowdcast, and it's got a lot of bugs in it, and we're now discovering even more bugs in it. And our ability to actually put your bad ideas into the poll is preventing us from actually putting the poll up. So I think we're unfortunately going to have to bail on the poll, and we're also going to probably have to bail on, although, you know what? Aaron, if you have some of the bad ideas, like just pick 2 of your favorites, because I'd love to play the Department of Yes with Adrian and Alan. So you can just put a couple of the bad ideas in the back channel, pick 2 of your favorites, and we'll play the Department of Yes in a few minutes with that. In fact, we'll play as soon as you pick those 2. We'll play, because then we'll have another game after that. All right, Fernando, any closing comments from you?
No, just that like everyone, you guys have nailed it in terms. The only thing for new people is that be curious and be humble. Like, I mean, read the room a little bit in that you don't have to be confrontational with somebody. You don't have to be boisterous, right? Be part of the conversation. Ask legitimate questions of people and say, yeah, this is interesting. Can we follow up later? Or can we? And don't expect that the person on the other side of the conversation has the time for right then and there. They may be very interested in talking with you, but they really have to run for the next meeting. And to the point that Adrian made about the vendor suites and the whatnot, my horror story is once I had a meeting with a vendor at the Vette, which is at the corner of, I think it's like 5th and Mission or something, having to go all the way down to the, oh my God, is it the Strand? No, all the way down to Second and Howard kind of thing. Like it was almost like the hypotenuse of a triangle.
Puffing and puffing, sweaty mess.
Yes. And we had a former colleague who actually tried like renting scooters to move between things because that's what he needed to do. Anyway, sorry. The point I was going to make on connecting is, yes, be humble, be authentic, and reach out. And we all understand why we're there. We're there for the networking and for the content. So yeah, exactly. Anyway, thank you all. I'll jump off stage, but
okay, great.
It's a pleasure to see you all here. Thank you.
Good to see you as well, Fernando. And I can't believe that I am completely remiss in not mentioning this, but I have a book that I wrote, and I'm putting it in the chat right here, called 3 Feet from Seven Figures, One-on-One Engagement Techniques to Qualify More Leads at Trade Shows. You can find it at 3feetbook.com. I should have physically brought a copy down to hold it up and show it to you. But if you are literally working a booth at the show, this is a perfect book to teach you to do this. Here's the big tip, though, if you're working a booth, and I'm going to just throw it. I'm going to throw 2 tips. One that works for everybody, whether you're working a booth or not, and one you work in a booth. The show is not about you. It's about the attendees. I cannot stress that enough. So your goal is to meet them where they're at. And one of the great techniques to meet somebody where they're at is not to say, hey, is identity protection, or identity management a concern for you? Yes, it's a concern for everybody at RSA. Don't ask that question. Just ask where their head is at that moment. And the question I ask to find that out is, what's the coolest thing you've seen at the show today? And you can ask that of anybody at a show. And that's a great way to start a conversation, because then you immediately know where their head's at. And then if you are selling something, then you can see whether you're in line with that or not, or at least begin a conversation from that point. So that is my major tip from there as well. All right. Oh, here we got some bad ideas here.
Well,
ideas.
And you're automatically talking about something they want to talk about with that question. That's great.
It's very, very good. All right. I think what it's time for right now is this.
Hello, welcome to the Department of Yes, where no request is ever rejected.
All right, I'm just going to pick two of these right now because I have not read through everything right now, but I'm going to start with Dwayne Grand's one, and I'm going to go to you, Adrian. And the way the Department of Yes works is no matter how bad this idea is, you're going to say yes to it without being facetious. I can't stress this enough. So you've got to find the silver lining in this incredibly stupid idea. Dwayne Grand suggests, wear a T-shirt that says, I'm a CISO and I have a generous budget for security. Why do you want to do this? As you're hiding, just even thinking that you would do that. Why do you want to do this, Adrian?
Oh, you're a glutton for punishment?
Well, that could be one thing. But why do you want to do it? Come on, work with me.
Sometimes it's, I think that would be an interesting experiment, actually. It's because then I feel like if you put yourself in that position, then it's them who have to perform, have to come with their A game, and I think it's much easier to turn them down if you're saying, look, I got a huge pile of money, but you got to bring it, like don't bring me any half-ass solutions, like bring the whole thing. You got to be, if I'm gonna put myself out there and open it up to everybody, like you got to be confident. You got to have a really solid, polished.
Alan, why do you want to do this?
I don't know. Adrian is so smart. Give me a moment to just marvel at Adrian's twist on that one. That was brilliant. I think my answer would be it shortcuts the BS and the overhead time, because now they're coming to you actively and aggressively. You can stand in place with your cowboy hat and your I'm a CISO with a big budget T-shirt. They all come to you. Bam, 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 bam. Yes, no, yes, no. To our earlier point about don't say maybe. Shoot down the ones that you don't want. Say yes to the ones you do want. You will have every meeting and everything planned for the next 3 months in about 5 minutes at RSA, freeing you up for 95% of the time to go have fun and do what you like.
Good answer. Very good. All right. This one comes from Dutch. Print your badge QR tag on the front and back of a T-shirt, your T-shirt that you're wearing, I'm assuming, and announce loudly on the floor, I love spam. Come to me, marketers. Very similar to the last one. Why do you want to do this one? I'll start with you, Alan.
All right. So the main reason I would want to wear a T-shirt with Dutch's badge on it is to...
That was going to be my joke.
Even better. All right. Sir, yes, sir. Very good.
That is exactly where I was going to go with it.
That would be awesome. All right. By the way, that's the winner right there. I hate to break it to you.
Well played.
We've got a winner.
All right. Adrian, I don't think you can one-up that one.
No, it was literally exactly. I was going to use Alan as my example. I was going to have Alan's QR code on my front and back.
All right. We have about 6 minutes before we go. Oh, I see a question came in. Let me see what this question is.
It's a good question.
Oh, here is a good one from Matt Black. Thinking beyond just RSA, how do you try to prioritize what conferences you attend to get the most value of your time? So what are worth it and why? So I would say your Black Hat, DEF CON, RSA,
Gartner.
After that.
Right. Well, it's like each one kind of comes in with different things. Like if I want to wander an expo and discover new technologies and companies, RSA is going to be my first choice. They have probably the biggest expo with Black Hat just behind them. But if you want to learn a lot of stuff and hack around with things and like hands-on learning, absolutely, it's going to be more of a DEF CON situation where like the villages at DEF CON are bigger than DEF CON itself, and literally any topic, any rabbit hole you want to go down, you can do that. So you need to understand what exists around it. Like we haven't mentioned B-Side San Francisco yet, which is a different vibe from RSA. It happens on Sunday and Monday before RSA starts. And they've got a ton of great stuff that you're not going to find at RSA. So I think you have to do some research, but also talk to people who've been to these conferences. Like what do you get out of the conference? Literally, I can go to DEF CON and both of you can go to DEF CON and we could have zero overlap, or RSA.
Yeah, that's a good, because there's so much information.
There's so much to do.
When it's interesting, when I would do like full-blown reports from a show, I would say, this is my report from RSA, but only from what I was able to see, because it's far from complete. It's what just my eyes were able and ears were able to consume at the time. Very, very good point as well. How would you answer that, Alan? Which ones do you go to?
So for me, the primary driver is always outside of the conference itself. I mean, to Adrian's point, each conference offers a unique niche or aspect of the cyber world, obviously judged based on that. For me, I've got a group of people I always try to meet with 2 or 3 times a year that I hang out with outside the conference. Every RSA, every Black Hat, every Gartner, there's one day of that week where we all go meet and have our own mini conference. Those are the big 3. So those are the big 3 I'm going to go to because that's my driver and motivator. But in terms of the actual conferences themselves, you can't go wrong with the big 3 if your goal is to meet, connect, and network, right? More people, more density, as somebody pointed out. I think Dutch used the word density. The big ones are good, but there's plenty of niche ones that we haven't discussed either. There's lots and lots and lots of smaller conferences, regional conferences, conferences focused around just cloud or just Amazon or just whatever it might be. Don't neglect or discount those, right? There's a local Dallas-Fort Worth one called CISO XC. I will not miss a CISO XC. Absolutely going to be there to connect with the local community.
Yeah, local community is key. I highly recommend that. All right. We only have a few minutes because we're going to go into a game. And by the way, for everybody who is on right now, do me a favor just to open up another browser window. Oh, by the way, if you have not clicked the link at the bottom of the screen to register for next week's Hacking Kubernetes, please click on that. That's going to be an awesome, awesome discussion. Please register for that. And remember, if you register early, you get possibly you get to win one of these awesome CISO Series jackets. But everyone go to, because we're going to play a Jackbox game in a while. So Jackbox TV, I believe, is where you will go. Isn't this? I'm sorry. Andrew, isn't that where people who want to vote, they're going to want to go to jackbox.tv? All right. Soon you're going to want to go there. So just keep in mind you're going to want to window it because you're going to be voting on the game as we're playing it as well. You won't be voting in the chat room. You have to actually go and vote within the game itself. But we have just a couple of minutes before we start playing this game. Let me just close with both of you. And we may have a couple of minutes after the game because I think the game will just last about 10 minutes. What don't most people do at RSA, Adrian, that they should be doing?
Sleeping, drinking water. I think it's almost, it's a very physical event. It's almost an athletic event. And you really got to take care of yourself. I see a lot of people just wipe themselves out. They go to a party on Monday night and they have a rough week for the rest of the week, or they go to multiple parties. So, and this just goes for travel in general. Like, I was having a rough time at conferences when I first started as an analyst because you do a lot of conferences, and at those conferences, you're taking dozens of briefings, over several days. And I realized if I want to be productive during the day, if I want to take a dozen briefings in a day, I can't go out to parties at night. I've got to get a certain amount of sleep. I've got to have a chance to wind down. I've got to get at least one good solid meal. And once I started realizing that and doing those things, much more survivable. So
okay.
Survive the conference.
Okay.
That's the goal.
Alan, your last swings, and then we're going to start the game.
Yeah, my roughest RSA ever of all of them was the one where I got overly aggressive on my schedule, booked very few of those 30-minute blocks I talked about. I only had 3 or 4 throughout the entire day. Took 7 a.m. meetings, partied until 10 every night. Did this for 3-4 days in a row. And I remember that last morning, the alarm going off and me waking up and thinking, I hate my life and I don't want to do this anymore. And that was the last day of RSA when I should have had all these cool activities planned that I was looking forward to. And instead I was just bitter and resentful. So yeah, pace yourself. Block the 30-minute times all throughout the day. Don't just do a few of them. Like literally for everything you do, have a thing you don't do. Hydrate, wear comfortable shoes. Don't be afraid to sit down. And I know that's hard to do. Just even walking around the Moscone lobby, finding a place to sit is a challenge, but take the time to sit.
You will see a lot of people on the floor sitting down. Yes.
Sit and chill for a little bit. That's okay to sit on the floor. Do it. Book those 30-minute blank spots where you have nothing planned, where if you run into somebody, hey, let's go across the street and get a coffee. Just be prepared for the fact that you're going to be standing in line everywhere. You're going to be milling around everywhere. You're rarely going to be sitting everywhere. I'm back to comfortable footwear. What's that?
Converse with the people in line with you. All right.
Yes.
All right. We're going to start our game now. I'm going to initiate. I just started. Everybody's in. All right. So for our audience, please go to jackbox.tv right now to vote. That's WPCJ. Go to jackbox.tv
after laughter
and type that. And these are all custom prompts
the host
that
of this game.
have been written for all 3 of us by our producer. I have never seen these.
Put in the room code and join the audience. Your vote counts too.
The guy is saying the stuff right now. All right, here's our first prompt. Adrian Allen, get ready. You're going to have to type it in.
You're about to see a couple of different prompts on your device. Enter your best response for each, then go head-to-head against another player.
And everyone, get in there. I want you to vote. WPCJ at jackbox.tv.
Oh, yes, points. You score points based on the percentage of voters who like your answers. Clear enough? Sure
popularity
hope so.
contest.
Let's go.
Yeah, it is very much a popularity contest. Okay, here. Oh, we have to write these answers. Okay. Hold on.
Did I go too fast?
No, you have to enter a few of these. 2 prompts here.
No, I'm just. I just realized there's a lot of time left. I could have thought more about my ideas, about my answers.
I went straight from the gut. Bam, bam.
I did too.
Okay. All right, done.
Let's take a peek, shall we? How about we start with voting time.
That was straight from the hip? Wow. Okay. Okay.
Jay Leno used to have a joke about the Pens advertisement saying, they're not just for people with bladder control problems, to which he responded, how lazy do you have to be?
That's a...
All right. Oh my God!
Oh, wow.
Depends is a much better answer.
Let's see how
You people are boring.
You got ripped.
Nice try shilling for Depends. You have stock there or something?
I do.
Here's the fun part. Pick your favorite.
Swag is too huge a category.
Oh, we both basically said the same thing.
Doesn't everyone look like a buffoon walking around with those giant plastic swords?
I hate though. It's so wasteful. It's just there's so much garbage. And
there are only 9 of you voting? There's way more of you online. Would you get on jackbox.tv site WPCJ?
All right, vote for the one you like best.
oh, I haven't answered these.
I didn't answer the second one, so it's a mix of the 3 of us.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. It should only the ones you didn't participate you can vote in.
Come on. Yeah, I won one. I finally won one.
So you don't want them to pay your hotel bill? What is wrong with you people?
I'm going to make them dance with me right there on the show floor, and if they're willing to do that, they can scan my badge.
All right. I'm in the lead.
Nice.
I thought Depends was going to be a slam dunk.
Ready for
I
round
thought so,
2?
too.
I hope
I don't
so,
know what's
because
wrong
it's
with our
ready for
audience.
you. Some
Yeah,
of the
I
prompts
mean,
are
it's
a
pretty
bit
funny.
Crazy, so the points are doubled.
All right, get in there, people.
If I knew you were going the humor route, I might have matched your humor with some other humor. I went serious.
All right.
Adrian taking his time.
I'm in. Oh, Adrian. Yeah, oh, yeah.
Yeah, Adrian's thinking
He's
it
got
through. He's going to
44
outdo us
seconds.
with.
He could take the time he
thoughtfulness.
wants. There's 25 in the audience, so that means I expect 25 of you to be voting. Thank you for getting in there. The rest of you, I don't know why you're not voting. It would be.
Time's
Maybe
running out.
maybe
Safety
if I wear the
equipment if you
hat,
have
it would be
to.
better for me. All right, Adrian, are you done? Submit. You got 9 seconds, 8 seconds, 7.
You know
6,
what?
Hurry up.
We're talking about all the swag. Save this year's swag
Submit.
and
There
give
you go,
it
you
back to
submitted.
the vendors next
You
year.
didn't embarrass yourself.
It all goes in the garbage can. Or
Every time a vendor hands you a pen, hand them one from last
item,
year.
I'll bring it home for my kids. Most people look for that.
Punch in your vote.
More of a
I
hacker.
think deodorant is spelled incorrectly.
Is it?
Both
that
good
how you-
answers. I just want to say both good answers. Ah, split.
All right.
Adrian
check this
takes the
out.
edge there. I voted for you.
Oh, it is odor.
Time to pick the
Odor.
one you like best.
I did misspell that. Called me out publicly too. Jeez.
I don't think spelling matters in this game. So I wouldn't worry about it. Come on, audience. There's 25 of you. 25 of you vote.
People are saying they can't vote.
Really? Oh, we can't vote on every question? Why not? You should be able to vote on all of them.
Let's see the
That
next
doesn't
one.
make sense.
And now pick your favorite.
Oh, I get to vote.
Room not found. WPCJ? Good answer, Larry. All right, I won that one. There we go. All right, I think that might be the end of the round here.
Was round 2 as good for you? as
Round
it
2. I
was
think
for
we have a
me?
third
Let's
round, and
find
then there's a
out.
final thing here, too. Hopefully everybody else will be able to get to vote here.
Dude.
We will find... Ooh! Just
Ooh.
edging you out by 30 points,
Oh,
Adrian.
so close.
So
I am
close.
just getting smoked here today.
Oh, no, this is the last... Is this the last
Stick to
round or the
gills
second to
with
last?
points. On your device, you'll see a prompt that requires 3 separate responses. You got this. And you know
All right,
what
here we
an
go.
odd number of players means.
I have to be witty.
This
on
is the
demand.
final round,
Beating
everybody.
it by
Everyone get in and
3.
vote.
Oh man, I forgot
Everyone
to
get in and
stretch.
vote. Okay.
We'll see how that works. It's kind of like a Mad Lib. It sounds like. You might want to toggle your video, David. I think you're frozen.
I'm frozen? Oh, I may have to refresh. I'm going to refresh. I'm reloading. Oh, I got 20 seconds. I got 2 prompts to write. Hold on.
Tick tock, time's almost up.
It was part of my strategy is to distract you with your broken video.
Oh, yeah, well.
Trying to win this.
Oh, I'm losing.
Go inside.
Mine stink.
Yeah, I'm not sure about mine.
All right, people, it's voting time.
New policies. Mason jar. I can tell which one is Alan. Does it say? No, it doesn't. Oh, I get it wrong.
Well, great job.
Nice.
There's my comeback.
Decisions. Choose your favorite.
Mine sounds like something like more of something a feral cat would do. Show up, conquer, leave your mark.
I can't believe I won.
It's the swim lane reference.
Yeah.
I can't believe
They
we
got
made
kicked
it.
out
Let's
last
see the
year.
final scores.
Did they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need to hear that.
Ah.
Song at some point.
Alan wins.
With body cavity searches, Alan makes a
Alan,
comeback.
good job, Alan.
Very
Good
nice.
job.
Bam.
All right. We have 3 minutes left in this. Thank you, everybody. Here, let's shut this down. Andrew, thank you very much. All right, we got 3 minutes. We're going to wrap this up. Let me actually, if we're going to wrap this up, I have to do our closing thing. We may go a couple minutes. Let me just do our closing stuff here for everybody. Everyone, by the way, click the link at the bottom of the screen to register for next week's if you have not registered for that already. And then I'm going to let you guys have closing comments here. Whoops, this takes it. Let me go zip through this. All right, whoops. Yeah, so register right now. Click the link bottom because that's going to change in just a second. In just a moment for our meetup. We're all going to do a meetup on the Toucan platform. Stick around for that. Next week will be, well, he's already switched it. That's fine. Okay, register early. If you haven't, just go to CISOseries.com. You can click on the link there. You'll see it's under our events page. Register early, and you're entered in a raffle to win one of these awesome jackets. All right. In an hour and a half from now, we're going to do cybersecurity headlines week in review. Here, I want to spotlight this, focus on this. We are going to have Nick Espinoza, who's the host of the Deep Dive radio show, is going to be our guest. He is awesome. If you haven't seen Nick, he's awesome. So please stick around for that. We actually do that on the CISO Series YouTube channel, so join us there. But you can also see it on LinkedIn as well. Stick around for our meetup. Now you can click the link on the bottom. If you haven't done that already, please do that. Join us over on Toucan. We would love to see you. And I'm speaking to those of you who do not normally come to this. Please come. Join us. And tell your friends to join us. We do this most Fridays at 1 p.m. We may be taking a few weeks off. But if you actually want to sponsor Super Cyber Friday, just email me at david@cisoseries.com and we'll set you up. All right. With that being said, we have just 2 minutes left. I will let the two gentlemen to either plug whatever it is that you would like or give any final advice. I will just say, obviously, you're all listening to the CISO Series shows, but please check out Alan's show. He's wearing the T-shirt, the Cyber Ranch podcast, and Enterprise Security Weekly. That's Adrian's show as well. Adrian, I want to thank both, Adrian and Alan, I definitely want to thank both of you. Besides, everyone should be listening to your podcast. What else do you want to say in closing?
Just a quick shout out to Sam Estrella, who I saw throwing some great comments in there. She kind of like Security Weekly's mother. She manages the shows, runs the shows, and yeah, it was great that and we're all about this. You know, we love going on other podcasts. You know, like we just have a love for podcasting. You know, so I mean, and that shows it. You know, I had no idea Sam was going to show up for this.
Well, thrilled that Sam showed up. Thank you, Sam, for showing up. Alan, any last words?
I just want to thank everybody and thank you for having me out. Fun stuff like always. I love it when multiple podcasts can get together and jam out like this. I'm in a medical boot. I'm on a scooter. I'm having a horrible week. This was a nice way to distract myself from all of that nonsense.
Do you think you'll be healthy to walk by RSA time?
I am going to be wearing the boot still at RSA, but I'll at least be able to walk in the boot as opposed to being on crutches. So I timed it so that I could at least not be on crutches for RSA.
Well, good job on that as well. All right, our time is up, everybody. Guess what? We're going to say goodbye. Everyone, click the link at the bottom of the screen. Thank you to Andrew and Aaron for producing this show. We greatly appreciate it. Join us on Toucan. You do that by clicking the link at the bottom of the screen. Take us out, Aaron.